What should we do about it? Okay. We talked in parts 4 through 6 about the coming problems on planet Earth, and it's coming like a freight train. I don't know when it's going to start. If I was forced to make a date, I would say in the next 3 years. It's going to start. I think we're headed toward that. Okay. This world belongs to God. His creation rebelled against him. The last 10 years or so of this time, starting soon, is going to be really, really bad. That includes a almost 3-year period, 1,040 days, of God's wrath being poured out on the earth. We will not be here for that. So let's assume we are right about here in the tail end of the blue part, and we're headed toward this 10-year trouble time. What should we be doing? Okay, we've been giving all kinds of advice from the Bible characters, what they say we ought to do in light of what's about to happen. This is going to be the real test of your Christianity. Is this real to you, or is this a game? Peter said, "The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, and the elements will melt with a fervent heat." So all these things are going to be dissolved. Everything we've built, everything we've done is all going to be burned. I know that. I've known that all my life. So what do? That's why I try to put as much emphasis as I can on winning somebody to the Lord. That's not going to burn. So you can put your time, energy, and money in things that last a few hours. Food. You can put your time, energy, and money in things that last a few years. Cars, clothes. You can put your time, energy, and money in things that last a lifetime. Education, house, property, real estate, investments. Or you can put your time, energy, and money in things that last forever. Now you're getting smart. You give $5 to a 5-year-old, what's the first and probably only thing comes into his mind? Candy. Something for the mouth, right? It's only going to last a few hours. He can't think beyond a few hours. There's adults like that too, by the way. Can't think beyond a few hours. They're not even thinking about eternity. He said, all these things are going to be dissolved. What should we be doing? A good question, Peter. He said we should look for and hastening unto the coming of the day of God. And I wish I knew if this day of God and day of the Lord and day of Christ, the subtle differences there. I think there's a difference. I'll work on that someday. But it's all going to burn. So what do we do? Well, we saw what Peter's advice was right here. Jesus told his disciples it's going to get bad. They asked him, "Lord, when are you coming and what's the sign?" In Matthew, Mark, and Luke, it's in the book, What on Earth is About to Happen. You ought to get one of these to follow along. And he told them in the next 23 verses in Matthew, it's going to get bad, guys. 19 verses in Mark, it's going to get bad. 17 verses in Luke, it's going to get bad. And then he said at the end, the sun and the moon will go dark. And then he's coming to get his children, the rapture. That's the sign, the sun and the moon going dark, mentioned 10 times. It's in the Bible, it's on the chart right there. Okay, so he said at the end of each of these passages, after the tribulation, the sun and the moon are going to go dark. And I missed it for 40 years. I don't know how, I'm embarrassed about it, but I got it now. I think I got it. Okay, I finally got it. So Peter gave us 8 pieces of advice. Jesus gave us 9 pieces of advice. We covered some of that. Paul told us to follow the examples and the ensamples of all the Old Testament saints. What did they do? So we looked at Abel. What did he do? Nothing he could do. His brother killed him. What did Noah do? He got prepared, built an ark. What did Joseph do? Saved up a bunch of food. Different people. We can learn from all these characters. We got 15 bits of advice from King Jehoshaphat in 2 Chronicles chapter 20. Stephen died forgiving his killers. Sometimes you may have to do that. Okay, Daniel also gives us some advice. Daniel was given a vision about the end times, what's going to happen. We saw that in part 3, which we'll get out on DVD soon here. He knew the saints are going to be prevailed against and worn out. Daniel chapter 7. That's what caught my attention when I started studying this topic, and I said, wow, I thought the rapture happened first. No, we're going to get worn out. Get the book and go to page 247. Before we take the kingdom, the saints get worn out. We're going to get really beat up. It's going to be bad. We're going to be here for the tribulation. Daniel 7 made it pretty clear. And What was Daniel's advice? Well, in chapter 11 and 12, Daniel gave some interesting advice. He said, you should know God, be strong, and do exploits. Those that know God are going to do exploits. Just keep on plowing ahead. If the enemy wants to send in their spies and try to find something wrong here, well, I don't think there's anything wrong for them to find, but they probably will. That's the way they work, you know. Understand that you may be killed too. That's what Daniel said, Daniel 11:33. It might happen. Just keep that thought in mind. Doesn't everybody that joins the military realize they could get killed? When you go into battle, that is a risk, isn't it?
Most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, when you sign up, that just comes with the territory. You might get killed. You need to instruct many. I love this part. That's, I think, God's calling on me. And God gifts different people for different things. He did not call me to be a mother, I promise you, okay? But He gives you the equipment you need to do what He calls you to do. And I like to teach. I think God gave me the gift of keeping it simple for people to understand. Like, oh, wow, I get it. It's great. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in 4th grade. I love it. Okay? Keep it right there where people can get the cookies off the lower shelf. You need to be wise and turn people to righteousness, Daniel chapter 12. Those that be wise are going to turn many to righteousness. Wow, that's what I want. How many people have you turned to the Lord in your lifetime? Not how much money have you made. How many people have you personally turned to the Lord? I think that's a good measure of how you're doing, really. You don't measure how successful you are by how big your car is or how big your bank account is or how big your house is. Some people, that's how they measure it. I drove today through a really rich neighborhood where all the big fancy houses are, and I'm sure they think, well, I've succeeded. I got a 4,000 square foot mansion. Okay, if that's how you want to measure success, that's up to you. I got a 1,000 square foot 2-bedroom house, but how many people eat in my house every day? Hundreds. Okay. With a tin roof. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter. I'm not impressed. Win souls. The Bible says in the book of Daniel, the wise will understand. I've asked God thousands of times, Lord, give me wisdom. I want to understand. Even if it's bad, I want to understand what's coming. Job faced tribulation. What can we learn from Job? Well, his name is automatically associated with trouble. Everything went wrong for Job. Job was an incredibly wealthy man, wonderful family, 10 grown children. He offered sacrifices for them every day, had a great, and he lost it all in just a day or two. Everything gone. All of his sheep, camels, oxen stolen or killed. All of his kids were killed, all 10 at the same time. All 10 children killed. His wife turned against him. Then he got boils covering the body from top to bottom. A boil is like the world's worst zit. Imagine if they're complete, you can't even sit comfortably. I mean, he's got them all over. Can't stand, can't lay down, can't sit. He's constant pain. When God said you can hurt Job's body, but you can't kill him, Satan chose to use boils, knowing how painful they are, covering his body. Then his 4 friends came and turned against him. When your best friends turn against you, it's like, oh, what else could go wrong? His wife turned against him. His kids kids are gone. What else could happen? What did Job do? He maintained his integrity. I like that. His friend said, Job, you must have sinned. He said, guys, I didn't sin. Well, Job, you had to. And for 35 chapters, they argued with Job. You had to sin, Job. It's obvious. You did something wrong. What did you do? He maintained his integrity. He knew that is not why this happened to him. Read Job chapter 2, verse 3 and 9, Job 27, Job 31. Just read it. Job maintained his integrity. He said, I didn't sin to cause this. I'm glad Brady came down and did that website. Kent Hovind is innocent. I didn't break any laws to go to prison. They broke the laws, okay? And I hope President Trump does something about it. And he could. Whether he does or not, and if enough people call him, maybe he will. I think they should return everything they stole, apologize, and leave me alone. I think they should obey the law. Now, that would be a new wrinkle. Anyway, if you know you have clean hands and a clean heart when trials come, then don't let others put a guilt trip on you. I think I've maintained my integrity for the whole 12 years since this has been going on. I didn't sin. Okay. I got people still, last night texting me, you had to do something wrong. Well, would you please show me? What? This has been a common tactic for torturers for centuries. What they'll do, and I've read so many books about what the Soviets did and the Chinese did, they will torture someone until they confess to a crime that they didn't do. Then they will execute them publicly and list, oh, he confessed to this crime, and all the people say, oh, wow, I didn't know he's a bad guy. Many pastors have been killed in communist countries after they tortured them into making some confession so that it'll destroy the church. Look at you Christians, your pastor had, committed adultery with 40 women and he confessed it. Here's the tape recording of him confessing it after being tortured for 10 days. Yeah. That's what they do. That's common tactic, communism 101. So don't let others put a guilt trip on you and make you think you did something wrong if you didn't. Now, if you did, well, then fix it, okay? They try to get the victim to confess to some heinous crime, repeating the allegations over and over until the accused believes it themselves. It's a brainwashing thing. That's what they've done for centuries. They're good at it. Job decided he would keep trusting God even if God decided to kill him. He said, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. But I will maintain mine own ways before him, Job 13. He said, I don't know why this happened, and I wish it didn't happen, but if God kills me, I'm going to keep serving him. That's the attitude we need to develop. How you doing? God's already allowed millions to suffer and die horrible deaths. And some people look at this and say, why did God allow all these Christians to be killed? Why is he allowing all these people to be decapitated in Muslim countries right now? And the women hauled off into sexual slavery for the rest of their life, worse than death. Why is God allowing that? Well, first place, God is not doing it. Evil people are doing it. God's not doing it. And God is keeping careful records, and he will set it straight, okay? It's not over. God may be using them to witness. It may be gathering evidence against these wicked people for their trial. His child, sorry, it's going to be bad for the next 2 years. Just hang on. I'm going to reward you greatly when you come to heaven. You're not going to believe what you're going to get up here, but it's going to be rough for 2 years. Doesn't every coach do that with the football team? Hey, guys, listen, I want you to take this little ball, run down that field while all these giant guys try to jump on you and stomp you and break your leg. And if you do, and you make it, and you can hang in there, I'm going to pay you $8 million a year. Right? Don't they think it's worth the reward, apparently? Well, I think that God's got way more than that to pay us. So it may get bad. I wish I could say it's not, but I'm not going to tell you something good is about to happen to you, because something bad may happen to you. But you just keep your heart right with God. When you're called on to starve to death, what if you're called on to starve to death because you refuse to take the mark? You can see this coming like a freight train, folks. If you don't have a mark, you can't buy or sell. That's all. It's not like they're going to beat you and force you to take the mark. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a chip in your hand, you can't buy at our store. How close are we to that happening in the world?
It's already devised.
It's been devised for 15, 20 years.
RFID.
Now, I don't know if the RFID is it or not. I suspect it is. But we are this close to them saying, look, there's too much cash, phony cash going around. People counterfeit money. There's too many bad credit cards. There's too easy to write a bad check. We're going to shut down the whole banking system and everybody get a chip. And if you don't want to do that, that's okay, but no store is going to take your cash anymore, and no store is going to take your check anymore. Aren't we close to that happening? All it says is you can't buy or sell. What would happen? Many other Bible characters face trials and tribulations and even painful deaths. Read their stories. Ask God how he wants you to respond when it's your turn. Remember, those stories are for our examples. You should read what happened to Job and say, wow, can I do that? I don't want to do that, Lord. But if it comes, it may come. How are you going to respond? It seems that the instructions may be different for different believers. Some believers, God wants them to go hide thyself, like in the book of 1 Kings. God told Elijah, there's a famine coming, you go hide. That was his instructions, and he followed it. God may tell some Christians, look, you go hide. That's clear instruction. Others were told to stand fast and die for their faith. Others were told to fight, go defend themselves. Whatever God calls you to do, go do it. It can all be summed up in just simply doing what Jesus already told us to do. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. If we would all focus on that, he would take care of everything else. God's heart is that none perish. God is not willing that any should perish. So remember, as bad as it may be for you, it's worse for the lost. You may go through some bad times. They're going to go through a bad eternity, aren't they? Yeah. Don't missionaries sometimes go into dangerous situations where they may even get killed, and many do get killed, and they're trying to bring the gospel to them? Well, also keep in mind, those who go along with the beast and take the mark might have it really good for a while, short time. Those who obeyed Hitler had it good for a few years. Those who followed Hitler, man, they were promoted, they were given lots of money, they had everything they wanted. The women flocked around Hitler, and he rewarded all of his people. Oh, hey, you're going to follow me and be faithful to me. They had it really good for a few years, didn't they? They would go into a town, rob all the Jews, divide up all their goods. They were living off of stolen goods. I bet I've read 300 books on Hitler and the Holocaust and that kind of stuff. I'd love to study that kind of stuff. What he did is what's the same thing going to happen again here. Those who followed along had it really good for a while. Those who follow the Antichrist, those who take the mark, are going to say, what's wrong with you? Why don't you take this chip? What's the matter with you? Come on. It's going to be good for a short time. Keep that in mind. Don't look when the wicked prosper, don't you get discouraged and say, Lord, why don't you do that for me? He's keeping records, not a problem. The lost face the same fate and same problems that all of us are going to face. Economic collapse, wars, famines, earthquakes, it's all coming. We get raptured out at Revelation 6:12 when the sun and the moon go dark. Read what happens in the first 11 verses of Revelation 6. You want to see what's coming? Revelation 6, verse 1 through 11. Just read it. We're all going to face that. Plus, the lost people are going to be there for the next 1,040 days when God's wrath is poured out. That's not going to be good. So as bad as it is for us, it's worse for them. So we need to be sensitive and try to win them to Christ. Plus, they've got a whole eternity in the lake of fire. So I think we need to look at this from a different perspective. How does God see this? What should we do, Brother Hovind? Bad times are coming. Well, I'm just trying to give you some advice from different Bible characters and show you what they did. Got a few more next time, tomorrow night. A little more advice from the Bible, and then the closing to part 7, and then Nick can get all the DVDs done and out the door and get the whole series done. But I'd like to challenge you all to look at your life and say, what are you living for? Where did your time, energy, and money go this last week? Have you done anything eternal? Anything for eternity? Have you told anybody about the Lord? Did you give anybody a gospel tract? Did you witness to anybody? Is your whole life wrapped up in you and what makes you feel good? Okay, we'll see you Judgment Day. See how that works out for you. I am eaten up with this idea of trying to do something for God's kingdom with my life. I wish we had 1 million people like that. There's something burning inside. Out today when I was out witnessing to folks, I thought, man, this is what we ought to all be doing all the time. Win somebody to Christ.